Why do so many smart people still fail in life, relationships, or power struggles? Because intelligence alone is not enough. The world doesn't reward the wise. It rewards the strategic. Today, we reveal the 7 signs of a man who doesn't just know, but knows how to win. Sign number 1 T. The truly intelligent man never walks into a room naked. Not in flesh, but in soul. He knows that to expose his inner world, his fears, ambitions, and thoughts, is to hand over weapons to others. The world is not a sanctuary for the honest. It is a battlefield dressed in silk. And in war, one does not show the blueprint of his fortress. The mask is not a lie, it is armor. He does not confuse authenticity with vulnerability, while the average man clings to modern dogmas of being real and expressing oneself. The intelligent man studies the effect of his image before ever revealing it. He understands that perception is more powerful than truth. Men will follow shadows if they are cast with confidence. So he becomes a master of appearances, shaping what others see without revealing what he truly is. The mask he wears is crafted with precision. Sometimes it is the humble scholar, other times the noble fool, and often the silent observer. What matters is not that the mask pleases everyone. It is that it disorients them. When people cannot pin down your essence, they hesitate. That hesitation gives him space to move, to calculate, to dominate quietly. Confusion in others is the first form of control. He has studied one great truth: people do not love what is honest. They love what is useful to them. So he becomes what they need him to be. He adapts his words, his tone, his energy to suit the psychology of his audience. But he never loses himself in the act. His mask is not an identity. It is a tool. He watches as others exhaust themselves trying to be understood, trying to be accepted. The intelligent man knows the more you are understood, the more vulnerable you become. The world cannot attack what it cannot define. Even in moments of praise or affection, he remains alert. Compliments are often cages built with sweet words. Those who claim to love your truth may soon use it against you. So he keeps his truest self hidden beneath the surface, shown only to those rare few who have proven loyalty, not with words, but with sacrifice. He knows that loyalty is tested not in comfort but in chaos. He also knows the difference between honesty and transparency. Honesty is telling the truth when asked. Transparency is offering your truth to people who have not earned it. The intelligent man is honest when needed, but never transparent by default. He speaks less than he thinks, and when he does speak, his words are often mirrors, reflecting back what others want to hear, not what he truly believes. His control over his mask gives him power in all social settings. In negotiations, he can feign ignorance to gather information. In friendships, he can downplay his strengths to avoid envy. In conflict, he can appear indifferent to conceal his strategy. Even his silence is calculated. When he says nothing, others begin to speak more, exposing themselves in their hunger to fill the void. He observes, gathers, learns. Sign number 2. The average man is a slave to the moment. He reacts without thought, speaks without calculation, and moves without foresight. But the truly intelligent man understands that timing is more powerful than knowledge. To act at the right moment is to strike with a blade so sharp, target never sees it coming. Intelligence is not just knowing what to do, it is knowing when to do it. And in that understanding, he gains control not only over events, but over the people bound to them. He does not rush into battle, arguments, or decisions. The world admires quick thinkers, but they often fall victim to their own speed. Fast reactions are easy to predict, but delayed reactions, deliberate silences, and well-timed responses are the tools of a man who refuses to be controlled. He observes how others move too fast. Driven by emotion, ego, or pressure, they think they're being bold, but in truth, they are being baited. The intelligent man never confuses urgency with importance. He lets the moment mature. While others are racing to prove their worth, he waits. He waits until the ground beneath him is stable, until his enemies have overplayed their hand, until allies reveal their true colors. The ability to pause, to not act when every part of your body demands movement, is a sign of supreme internal command. He knows that some victories cannot be won by force, but only by timing. Power does not always belong to the strongest. It belongs to the most patient. He has learned to delay gratification not just in pleasure, but in strategy. The need to be seen, validated, or avenged instantly is a weakness. The intelligent man resists this urge. He plays the long game. He plants seeds that may take years to grow because he understands that the deepest roots take the longest time to develop. He is willing to be underestimated in the short term if it means being unchallengeable in the long term. His moves are not reactive. They are crafted in silence, released only when advantage is absolute. When others insult him, he does not retaliate. When others challenge him, he does not always respond, not because he is weak, but because he knows the value of choosing when to speak and when to strike. Impulse would have him react immediately. Intelligence holds him back like a tensed bowstring. He calculates not only what he will say, but what his silence will make others feel. Often, saying nothing creates more fear than 1,000 words. In negotiations, timing becomes his sharpest weapon. He knows when to pause just long enough to create discomfort. He uses silence to pull the other person into over-explaining, overcommitting, or revealing too much. By withholding immediate responses, he makes others doubt their position. This is not manipulation for its own sake. It is the control of rhythm, the seizing of psychological ground without physical effort. He also applies this to conflict. While others are driven by the need to defend their pride in the moment, he steps back. He does not fear being misunderstood temporarily, because he knows that reputation is shaped by outcomes, not reactions. The truly intelligent man can appear defeated if it allows him to win at a more crucial point. He calculates not just the cost of action, but the benefit of delay. He understands that sometimes the most powerful move is to do nothing until the exact second when action becomes destiny. Sign number 30C. There are men who can recite 1,000 theories, who speak in the language of scholars, and who drown themselves in pages filled with the wisdom of dead men. They gather knowledge like a miser gathers gold, hoarding it, displaying it, but rarely applying it. The truly intelligent man does not confuse education with insight. He knows that books can teach you patterns, but only people can teach you consequences. And in the game of power, survival, and strategy, it is people, not paper, that decide who rises and who falls. He observes others with an intensity that is almost surgical. Every conversation, every movement, every silence is data. He notices the way a man shifts when he lies, the way a woman glances when she desires control, the subtle cracks in confidence that most ignore. His mind is a mirror that reflects not only what people say, but why they say it. He listens to words, but studies motives. Because in the realm of influence, it is not the message that matters. It is the intent beneath it. This man has learned that people will show you who they are not through declarations, but through small slips. He watches how someone treats the powerless, not the powerful. He notices the tone change when status enters a room. He catches the moments when flattery turns into manipulation and when advice disguises envy. The average man trusts easily because he believes what he hears. The intelligent man trusts slowly because he pays attention to what remains unsaid. He does not rush to categorize people. He builds profiles silently over time. Every interaction is a piece of a larger puzzle. He remembers how someone behaved in weakness, how they reacted under pressure, and how they handled being ignored. These observations are not idle curiosity. They are his currency. While others build networks based on charm or convenience, he builds alliances based on psychological understanding. He does not choose people for who they appear to be, but for who they become when tested. This form of study gives him an immense advantage. He can see ambition hiding behind modesty. He can sense insecurity dressed in arrogance. He knows when a compliment is sincere and when it is bait. And more importantly, he understands what each person wants. Because once you understand a person's true hunger, you can predict their every move. People are not as complicated as they pretend to be. Most are just patterns repeating themselves. The intelligent man knows this and uses it. He does not speak much of what he sees. He allows others to underestimate him, to think of him as observant but harmless. This is his camouflage. In truth, he is always studying. At the dinner table, in casual meetings, in crowded rooms, he is dissecting human nature in real time. He knows that one well-read face can teach more than 1,000 unread books. He learns from betrayal, from loyalty, from desire, from fear. Every experience is a lesson in the anatomy of power. Every relationship is a laboratory of motives and manipulation. He does not need a title or a classroom. The world itself is his syllabus, and people are the pages he never stops reading. Sign number 4C. The average man clings to morality like a chain around his own neck, believing that virtue in itself guarantees reward. He is taught to obey, to be good, to follow the rules laid out by others. He believes that fairness ensures safety, and that truth always triumphs. The truly intelligent man sees beyond these illusions. He understands that morality is not a universal law. It is a language, a performance, a mask crafted by society to tame the powerful and make the dangerous predictable. He does not abandon ethics, but he does not worship them either. He uses them when they serve him and sets them aside when they do not. He has learned that those who speak the loudest of morality are often the most skilled at hiding their ambition behind it. Politicians preach virtue to the masses while feasting on corruption behind closed doors. Leaders demand loyalty in the name of justice while consolidating power in the shadows. The intelligent man watches this and learns. He understands that the world does not reward the pure. It rewards the strategic. Those who win are not always the ones who are right, the ones who know when to appear right and when to act decisively, regardless of appearance. He sees morality as a structure designed to maintain order, not necessarily to reflect truth. It is a tool of governance, not a compass for greatness, and so he learns to use it. In public, he appears virtuous when it is useful. He speaks the language of ethics when it calms the herd, when it gains trust, when it opens doors. But internally, he is ruled not by ideals, but by outcomes. He weighs decisions not by what is right in theory, but by what is effective in practice. His conscience is not silent, but it is disciplined. It answers not to societal dogma, but to strategic necessity. This does not make him cruel for the sake of cruelty. It makes him adaptable. He knows there are moments when kindness is powerful and others when mercy is a weakness. He does not hesitate to make hard choices when needed, nor does he allow sentiment to paralyze him in critical moments. If deception will save a kingdom, he will lie. If sacrifice will build a future, he will choose the few over the many. He is not driven by what is popular, but by what is essential, and he accepts the consequences without apology. He understands that in the eyes of the masses, consistency is mistaken for morality, so he remains consistent when it matters, but only in appearance. Behind the curtain, he shifts his principles like a general shifts tactics. What mattered yesterday may no longer serve today. He adapts without guilt, because he is not interested in being admired. He is interested in being effective. And effectiveness requires the ability to move through both light and shadow, to wear the robe of justice with one hand and carry the blade of necessity with the other. He has seen that rigid morality is often the downfall of brilliant men, those who refuse to bend and were therefore broken. The intelligent man does not fall into this trap. He does not sacrifice strategy at the altar of purity. He knows the world respects results more than righteousness. So he lets others carry the moral burden, while he carries the weight of power. His actions may not always be understood, but they are always calculated. His decisions may offend the innocent, but they protect the intelligent. He understands that to play the game of life at its highest level, morality must become a tool in his hand, not a chain around his wrist. Sign number 50. The man of true intelligence carries silence like a weapon. Where the common man is eager to display his knowledge, eager to be heard and validated, the intelligent man understands that words are both a window and a weakness. He does not feel the need to convince others of his brilliance, because he knows that power is often more secure in mystery than in proof. The more he reveals, the more predictable he becomes, and in a world governed by strategy, predictability is the death of advantage. He watches how people betray themselves through speech. They boast, they over-explain, they rush to fill silence as if it were shameful. But he knows silence is not absence, it is presence. It draws attention, it invites curiosity. It forces others to project their thoughts and insecurities into the vacuum. The intelligent man lets them speak. The more they speak, the more he learns. Every unnecessary word from their mouth is a blueprint to their intentions, fears, and weaknesses. Every pause he maintains is a test they fail without realizing it. He does not speak to impress, he speaks to control. His words are chosen like arrows, measured, sharp, and rare. He can dominate a room without raising his voice. He knows when a glance is more powerful than a speech, when a single sentence can tilt an entire conversation, and when silence can bend the will of the impatient. He never argues to prove himself right, because he knows that victory in debate is rarely found in logic, in leverage. He lets others argue while he watches for the cracks they expose in their defense. To the untrained, his silence might be mistaken for weakness or lack of intellect. But that is part of the design. He would rather be underestimated than correctly feared. The moment people see the full extent of your strength is the moment they begin to resist it. But if they are unsure, if they must guess what you know and how far you are willing to go, then they remain off balance. Silence, when wielded by an intelligent man, passive, it is predatory. Even in relationships, he reveals little. He understands that every piece of personal information is a potential weapon in the wrong hands. He does not confide easily. He listens, he observes, and he stores. He gives others the illusion of closeness without sacrificing the reality of distance. Vulnerability, when expressed, is deliberate, not emotional but strategic. He controls not only what others hear, but how much of him they are allowed to see. The moment someone feels they fully understand him, he knows he has lost ground, so he remains partially hidden, even to those closest to him. In negotiation, he is a fortress. He never reveals his final position first. He lets the other party speak themselves into a corner. He uses silence to provoke discomfort and discomfort to provoke mistakes. The need to fill space with words is a weakness he exploits. He does not interrupt. He does not rush. He waits. When he finally speaks, every word has weight. He has learned that words, once spoken, cannot be retrieved. But silence, once broken, cannot be misunderstood. Even in defeat, he says little. He does not explain or justify. He knows that silence after loss is often more terrifying than anger or excuses. It suggests patience. It suggests calculation. It suggests that the story is not over. While others seek sympathy or redemption through words, he seeks neither. His silence is not surrender, it is restructuring. He speaks when the outcome demands it, not when the emotion invites it. And because of this, every word he speaks commands attention, every silence he holds commands fear. Sign number 6 here. The intelligent man understands that short-term pleasure is the poison that keeps most men powerless. While others chase applause, attention, and immediate comfort, he thinks in decades. His mind does not dwell in the present. It calculates from the future backward. Every action he takes is not for today's reward, but for tomorrow's control. Where the masses live like gamblers, hoping for luck to strike, he operates like a chess master, moving with precision, even if the board seems still. He is immune to the distractions that enslave the average man. He does not jump at opportunities that scream for urgency. He sees that urgency is often a trap, manufactured to push men into making rushed decisions. The intelligent man studies patterns and waits for alignment. He knows the value of patience, not as passivity, but as weaponized timing. He has trained himself to delay gratification without bitterness. While others crave the appearance of progress, he builds real foundations, even if it means remaining invisible. This man watches how others spend their time and learns from their blindness. Most men waste their energy proving themselves to people who don't matter, reacting emotionally to insults that will be forgotten by morning, or chasing trends that will disappear by the next season. But he focuses only on what compounds. He invests in knowledge that others will not see the value of until it's too late. He builds connections not for popularity, but for strategic alliance. He does not post every thought, reveal every plan, or seek validation. He plans in the shadows and lets the results speak when it's time. He views life as a series of interlinked moves. He is not consumed with winning every argument or scoring every point. He knows that losing small battles can distract your enemy while you prepare for the war that matters. Every insult, every rejection, every loss is stored as data. He converts pain into fuel, using it to sharpen his mind rather than dull his senses. His emotions do not drive him. They serve him. He feels them, then files them, using their energy for what is useful instead of what is reactive. He studies his environment with a long lens. He anticipates trends, observes shifts in power, and tracks the rise and fall of men around him. He prepares for storms before the clouds appear. He understands that chaos doesn't create intelligent men. It reveals them. And so he prepares for moments others think will never come. He builds financial, psychological, and relational capital, not for vanity, but for leverage. When others panic, he executes. When others dream, he structures. This kind of planning requires detachment. He does not allow temporary success to make him soft, nor does he allow temporary failure to make him desperate. He is unaffected by the noise of the present moment. He sees time as a servant, not a master. Even his relationships are chosen with care. He avoids those who live emotionally, who burn bridges for ego, who cannot delay their tongue or desire. He knows that such people are dangerous, not because they are strong, but because they are unpredictable. He surrounds himself with people who understand endurance, control, and the value of time. To him, life is not a straight path, but a layered map. He keeps some roads open, others concealed. He uses detours not as delays, but as strategic misdirection. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every pause becomes a setup. Every step forward is backed by a dozen unseen calculations. He lives like an architect of his own destiny, quietly, patiently, and always 10 moves ahead. Sign number 70. The intelligent man does not fall into the modern illusion that emotions must be rejected in order to remain powerful. He knows that feelings are not the enemy. It is untrained emotions that destroy. Anger, fear, love, sorrow. These are not weaknesses when mastered. They are forces, and like any force, they can be either destructive or strategic. The difference lies in control. Most men are ruled by their emotions without knowing it. They explode in rage, collapse in grief, chase love blindly, or drown in envy. They become predictable, manipulable, easy to break. The intelligent man does not suppress his emotions. He studies them. He understands that emotional control is not the same as emotional absence. To feel nothing is not intelligence. It is numbness, and numbness invites apathy. A man who feels nothing cannot truly connect, inspire, or even lead. But a man who feels everything and chooses when to show it, when to hide it, and when to use it, becomes unpredictable and powerful. He watches how his emotions move within him, like weather over a battlefield. He lets them pass without being taken by the storm. Anger becomes energy, fear becomes caution, love becomes loyalty, but none become his master. He has learned that every emotion is information. Jealousy reveals what you secretly desire. Rage shows where your boundaries have been crossed. Sadness highlights where you've placed too much meaning. But these signals must be read, not obeyed. The average man reacts the moment he feels. The intelligent man reflects before he moves. He questions every emotional impulse with the sharpness of a sword. Is this feeling true, or just familiar? Is this reaction wise or simply loud? He waits, he analyzes, and when he moves with full awareness of the emotional forces behind his actions. This internal clarity gives him an advantage in every confrontation. While others argue from emotion, lose control in negotiation, or crumble under pressure, he remains composed. This does not mean he is robotic. It means his fire is hidden behind a steel wall. He does not yell to be heard. He does not cry to be seen. If he weeps, it is in silence. If he burns, it is beneath his skin. He chooses the time and the place for every expression. And when he does show emotion, it is never accidental. It is intentional, a message sent with precision. He has also learned to master the emotional states of others. Because he understands his own inner world, he can see the same structures in the minds of those around him. He watches for fear in the voice, pride in the posture, uncertainty in the eyes. He uses this knowledge not only to defend, but to persuade. When needed, he mirrors empathy to disarm. When necessary, he feigns coldness to provoke. He knows that controlling another man's emotions begins with recognizing what drives him, and no man can see that clearly until he has conquered his own. This mastery does not make him unreachable. It makes him grounded. He can love without being enslaved, mourn without being consumed, and express without being exposed. He does not need to scream to feel alive, or to numb himself to feel strong. He walks through chaos like a stormwalker, touched by nothing, observing everything. His power lies not in denial of emotion, but in his ability to channel it like a trained beast, fierce when unleashed, but never unchained. The truly intelligent man is not always the loudest in the room, the most decorated, or the most celebrated. His intelligence is not measured by what he says, by what he sees. He does not seek to impress the world. He seeks to understand it, manipulate it, and rise above it with quiet certainty. He chooses observation over reaction, strategy over impulse, and long-term power over short-term pleasure. He is feared not because of how much he reveals, because of how much he withholds. He understands that the world is a game of appearances, and he plays it with brutal precision. While others chase validation, he builds leverage. While others talk, he listens. While others fall apart in emotion, he remains composed in calculation. He plans beyond the moment, protects his mind from the crowd, and turns pain into power without asking for sympathy. He does not beg to be liked, because he knows the man who is willing to walk alone will always walk ahead. If you wish to become such a man, do not wait for the world to understand you. Train your mind in silence. Master your emotions in private. Study the movements of others as a hawk studies prey. And remember, true intelligence is not in what you know, but in how you move through a world that doesn't. Only a few will ever see it. Even fewer will ever master it. But those who do never have to beg for power again.